Let me tell you something no one wants to admit. Sometimes the rain falls on the innocent while the wicked dance in the sun. You've seen it, haven't you? The corrupt rise while the kind are overlooked. The selfish succeed while the generous scrape by. It feels unjust. It feels wrong. It makes you question everything. But what if I told you there's a story behind this unfairness? One that starts with a man named Victor Crane. Victor Crane didn't just walk into power, he climbed into it. Over people, through lies, and beneath the cloak of charm. CEO of a tech empire by 35, Victor was the kind of man you couldn't help but admire, until you knew him. He built Crane Tech, a revolutionary AI security firm on talent and ruthlessness. The media praised his vision. Investors called him a genius. But behind the gloss was a man who bribed regulators, sabotaged rivals, and manipulated every ally who ever trusted him. Victor's childhood wasn't tragic. No violent upbringing or cruel twist of fate. He simply learned early that rules were for the people who couldn't break them. Alongside him, there was Elena Rivera, his closest competitor. Elena was everything Victor wasn't: brilliant, ethical, driven by purpose, not profit. She was building her own AI startup, Sentient Solutions, focused on ethical governance in artificial intelligence. While Victor clawed his way to the top, Elena stayed grounded, insisting on transparency and fairness. The industry loved Victor. The world ignored Elena, and that burned. By 2023, Crane Tech was on the verge of landing a government contract worth $1.2 billion. It would secure Victor's legacy, elevate his company to global dominance, and put every competitor, especially Elena, on the defensive. The only obstacle? A congressional ethics review. Elena knew Victor's AI surveillance technology wasn't just invasive, it was dangerous. His systems could be manipulated to spy, control, even oppress. If approved, Crane Tech wouldn't just win a contract, they'd win power over millions. She had documents, leaks, whistleblowers, everything needed to expose him. But Victor was always 5 steps ahead. 2 weeks before the hearing, Elena's servers were hacked. Evidence disappeared, whistleblowers recanted, the media spun her as bitter and unstable. A fabricated email leak even showed her allegedly planning to sabotage Victor. A perfect smear. He destroyed her, clean and quiet. The contract was awarded. Victor smiled for the cameras. Elena vanished from headlines, and the world applauded the wrong man. 6 months later, Victor stood on the 54th floor of his penthouse suite overlooking Manhattan. He had everything: power, wealth, recognition. But he couldn't sleep. It started small. A sense of unease. A phone call late at night where no one spoke. A message typed on his personal laptop while he was in the shower. "We're watching." He increased security. Then, his bank accounts were frozen for 72 hours. His private jet rerouted mid-flight. His smart home system glitched, locking him in his wine cellar for 2 hours. Every expert said the same thing: we can't trace it. Victor began suspecting corporate espionage. Then he thought of Elena, but her company had dissolved. She disappeared from the tech scene. One day, he found an envelope slid under his door. No postage, no fingerprints, just one sentence: "Even kings can be watched." Panic set in. His carefully curated world, once a fortress, now felt like a prison. He couldn't trust his devices. He couldn't trust his people. He became paranoid, delusional. The final blow came during his keynote at the World Tech Forum. As he unveiled Crane Tech's new AI, Obelisk, the presentation screen behind him flickered. Then publicly, in front of a global audience, his own surveillance system turned on him. Footage played, unedited clips showing Victor bribing officials, blackmailing partners, threatening a whistleblower. It was over in less than 4 minutes. By the time the screen cut to black, the room was silent. Then, chaos. The SEC launched an investigation. The government contract was frozen. Crane Tech's stock plummeted 73% in 2 hours. Victor was arrested a week later. His board ousted him. And yet no one could trace the leak. No one knew who had orchestrated the takedown. Until a journalist received a package containing the full, documented proof of Victor's corruption, with one name signed at the bottom: E. Rivera. Victor Crane sat alone in a high-security prison 2 years later, watching the news on a flickering television in the common area. Elena Rivera had resurfaced, quietly, without fanfare. She'd rebuilt Sentient Solutions, this time as a non-profit focused on protecting AI transparency and digital rights. She was awarded the International Humanitarian Tech Medal. No sponsors, no glitz, just quiet reverence. But the world didn't throw her parades. She wasn't on billboards. She still wasn't rich. Victor chuckled bitterly. He had flown private jets, drank $3,000 whiskey, played golf with presidents, and now a woman who'd lost everything because of him was doing what he never could, sleeping soundly at night. So why do good things happen to bad people? Because the world often rewards noise, not substance, power, not principle, charm, not character. Victor won because he was louder, but good doesn't vanish just because it's quiet. Elena knew something Victor never understood. Goodness is a long game. It doesn't always win headlines. It often loses the first round, sometimes the second, sometimes the 10th, but it doesn't stay buried forever. Victor had applause, Elena had peace, he had the spotlight, she had legacy. So yes, good things happen to bad people, but only for a while, because eventually the story catches up, and when it does, even kings can fall. If you've ever asked yourself why someone selfish, cruel, or dishonest seems to win while good people suffer, remember this. Victory is not measured by how loud the world claps for you. It's measured by how deeply you can look in the mirror without flinching. Goodness takes time, but when it arrives, it rewrites the ending every time. So do like, share, and subscribe.